Hey, morning guys. Just gonna do a quick video here today on how to remove a Shimano Hollowtech II style crank. This is an SLX crank on my bike. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to remove this. I have another mod that I'm doing, or an upgrade I guess, to my bike, and one thing I need to do is remove the crank, so I thought I'd do a video on how to do that. So let's check it out. So these are the tools we'll need for this. 5mm Allen key. I have this Park tool, BBT9, basically just for the bearing cap to remove off the crank. I'll need this tool here. I know you can get a cheap $2 tool or something from Shimano as well, but I figured I'd get this, so I'll probably need it in the future anyways. Some grease, flathead screwdriver, rubber mallet, and then we'll need a torque wrench to put everything back together at the proper torque settings. All right, so basically you're just gonna remove the two pinch bolts on both sides of the pedal here. And be careful with these because they do sometimes tend to, they're pretty tight. So, and you just wanna do kind of each side at a time. You don't wanna undo one side all the way sort of thing. So just kind of work away at both sides. There is a little plate in here that we need to remove as well. I don't think we need to remove these all the way. We just need to loosen them up here. Like so, make it kind of awkward on this side here. Oh, and again, you want to start, sorry, I should have mentioned this earlier. You want to start on the non-drive side first. Take this side off first. So there is a little tab right in here that we just need to slide up. See how that it's slid up there now? So now, let's get that crap out of there. So I should be able to, oh sorry. Well, I gotta remove this thing still too. So this is where I'm going to use this Park tool here. This should just be finger tight. It shouldn't be super tight in there. Yeah, okay. So you just unscrew this bearing load cap off of there. So there's the bearing cap there. So now this should come off. So I got this side off, and then we can tap out the other side. Oh, one thing, sorry, before we go too much further, again, this is like the sort of things I always forget. We should take the chain off the chain ring here. So I'm just gonna do that there. And just rest it on the bracket there. I mean, you could remove the rear wheel if you wanted to. So then we're just going to tap this crank out of here. Let's get over on the other side there. There. So we've got the drive side crank out of there now. And so while we have the crank out, it's probably a good idea, clean everything. I'm gonna clean up everything really nice from rubbing alcohol. While it's off, you can get in behind the crank and other places you can't normally get to with it on the bike. I'm gonna clean around in the bottom bracket, re-grease everything, and we'll basically put it back together the same way we took it apart. So one second. So I cleaned up everything, cleaned up the crank really well while it was off the bike. So now we'll go ahead, put everything back together. And we're gonna need some grease for this. We're gonna re-grease basically all along here and in the bottom bracket and stuff. Get that nice and greased up. Apply some grease to there, spread it all around. Like so. Make sure to get the splines nicely there. Then the bottom bracket as well. Make sure I get Some grease in there. So we'll go ahead and put the drive side back through. Like so. I'll go ahead and install the other side crank. We're going to go obviously 180 degrees to the drive side. There. Make sure that's all nice and together there. And before putting the load cap back on, I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on it as well. Make sure to get the threads in here properly. And with this, you don't want to crank down on it super tight at all. It's just finger tight. If you crank down too hard on this, the pedals aren't going to turn very nicely. There we go. I'm just going to slide that retention tab into place. And then we'll go ahead and tighten up the pinch bolts. And again, you want to kind of work at both sides equally. And then we're going to need our torque wrench to get this torque down to the proper specifications. Now on the pedal itself, it does say, if you look right along the side of the pedal, most pedals will say, this one says 12 to 14 Newton meters. So we'll get our torque wrench set up here for that. So we're just going to want to tighten both of these down to the proper torque specs. And again, just work side to side. Don't crank on one side more than the other. All right, there's that side tightened down. All right, then we're just going to make sure this is finger tight, and it is. And then we'll go ahead and put the chain back on. Basically, that's it. So there we go. There's basically how we remove and install Hollowtech II style Shimano crank. Pretty easy. I mean, if I can do it, you guys can do it. So don't forget, subscribe and like. There should be a subscribe button in the top corner of the screen here. Make sure to click on that if you haven't already. Like the videos, stay tuned for more. Toogiehowser MTB, keep your feet on the pedals.
Oh, shut your face, Toogiehowser.